Greetings, precious, magnificent, beautiful spirit soul. Breathe into your heart. I want to acknowledge you for watching, for listening, for working on yourself, the greatest work in the world. That's the most important thing you can do of anything at all, is to know and be who you really are. My topic: you are not what you perceive in others. I'll tell you, partially that has some truth, but half-truths are very dangerous because they're accepted as absolute whole truths and then told that there are no absolutes, but yet making there are no absolutes absolute. You have to sharpen your intelligence. And that comes from studying the philosophy, as well as also trusting your own inner knowing, because we need to know how the mind operates so that the mind does not control us, and we use the mind. But more importantly, you're established in yourself, because if you follow the mind, you find that what happens is we're always, what would you say, we're at war with ourselves. It's called duality, fighting, it's conflict. That's why resistance, in a sense, is futile, as they said on Star Trek. If you're resisting, you don't get out of it because you're making it happen by your resistance, because you're giving it power. And yeah, you say, yeah, but you got if somebody was at you with this or a gun or something. Don't imagine that. Don't visualize that. Take a look at what are your beliefs that would set you up to be in a situation like that. This is not to make yourself wrong or beat yourself up, because we're all in this together, so to speak. And yet we're all individuals. Yeah, it's not oneness movement. Forget this. You're already unified. This is trying to tell you you're going to be one. Person says, well, Joe died and went to God. Well, he was with God all the time, source, partner, beloved. It's who we are. You're not separate from that. And one of the big lies is that if you see it in somebody else, it means it's in you, so you can't say anything and you can't point it out because it's who you are, because you noticed it and you saw it. Well, what does that do? That makes people not question what's going on and not say something, and also to permit and to allow, what would you say, perversions to exist. And what happens with the mind? The mind shifts our perception, and it perverts our perception from perceiving the divine within ourselves and others. We're always perceiving, what would you say, from our eyes darkly, that with all the different layers of beliefs that we have, the different experiences we've had, what we've been told, the different commands we've been given, the subliminal programming that's going on, the characters we're trying to be, so all of this stuff, you've got to get to where it's really simple and easy. Because obviously, a person could go to therapy for years and years and years and years and years, and still it's just entertainment, basically, so they could talk about themselves. But it never deals with it, because their life is their story. And they're always about this story and retelling the story or reshaping the story or making themselves the hero of the story or the victim of the story or the savior in the story. And it's always, look at me, I'm okay. Well, of course you are. And that's why you got to know that philosophy. But that teaching that says, if you perceive it in someone else, it means that it's in you. Well, first of all, it's not in them either. That's in the mind app. That is, okay, so say if I see someone who is abusive, does that mean I'm abusive? If I follow the mind, I'm abusing myself because I'm a loser. No, I'm not good enough. Nobody likes me. I made mistakes. And because I did that I can't do that. Your mind is set up to punish you and punish others. And what happens when you perceive who you are from your true state, you absolutely, if you see someone abusing someone else, you know that they're abusing. And what they're doing, they're not following their inner guide, their heart. They're following their mind. They don't have a heart anymore. They don't know who they are. And because if you perceive someone abusing a child, using a child for sex, or to torture them or punish them, or people drinking blood, or they do these things, this is not divine work. And because I perceive it, does it mean it's in me? No, it's in the mind. So I can think that, I can take that into myself, I can develop myself according to the mind, and I could do all of this, and I could become a psychopath. Yes, so at that point, yes, if I perceive that in others, I could take that on, and I could do that if I live in the mind, but I don't live there. So I'm not that, and I never was, and you never really are, because you cannot lose yourself. You can forget, but you want to remember who you are and never forget. And that is a process of developing your habits. And you have to take a look at what habits are controlling you. And so, yes, at one level, what other people think about you is none of your business. And what you're thinking of others is none of your business. But there's a big difference between thinking and knowing. If you're around someone and you know that the person is cruel, does that mean you can't do anything about it because if you perceive it, it means you're cruel? No. You're perceiving that they're acting cruelly, but you also at the level know that at their heart, they are a spirit soul. They're an eternal being. But yet that person doesn't know they are. I don't have to take them into my life or my home or my group of friends or students. I don't have to do that. I have my choice, and I stand in that. And there is no greater opportunity than we have now to actually really return to spirit, return to the divine, return to remembering and being who we are, rather than living from what the mind is talking about and telling you every moment. And people say, I was talking to my teacher, Haridas Shastri. This is many years ago when I was there in India. And someone said, well, what about your mind? What about the thoughts you're having? Do you have these? Well, yeah, he said, everybody's got them. I don't act on them. I know what it is. It's the mind. And it picks up stuff and it knows you. That's why when you are so set on something that you just have to do it, and you're thinking about it and you're analyzing it and you're excited about it and you're enthused about it and you're going to do it and you're going to do it, and then all of a sudden everything kind of falls apart. You go, what happened? Because you're telling everybody about it and you're all excited. You brought up envy in those people and jealousy, because that's what the mind is, based on envy and guilt and fear. That's all it does. It just tortures people all the time. Always, you're not good enough, competing, competition, war, let's kill them, let's get them, let's do this. You got to take yourself back. And that means always remember source, partner, your beloved, and never forget, remember you. So it's developing the habits of staying centered in your heart rather than reacting to everybody and everything that's going on around you, but also to be certain and know when you see someone is basically a weirdo in some way, yeah, that's their life, but because you perceive them doesn't mean you're a weirdo. It means that you could perceive what they're doing. And that's fine if that's what they want to be doing, but yet if what they're saying is, if you perceive it, it's you, so you can't say anything about that. That's to shut up people who mostly, they call them New Age, New Thought. I used to be involved in that at some point because at that time it was just metaphysics. But in time now, something else has taken over and moving that into a place where even everybody is in hive mentality. We always all act the same, think the same, walk the same. Like they're putting people in jail because they don't do the correct gender. Or what? And it's like, oh, you got to watch it, you got to say it right, and some computer's going to come out with a new program that will change all your writing to make sure it's politically and gender correct. Oh, wow. And that's stupid things that come up on your email, or that you don't even have to write an answer anymore. You just click it, click it, click it. I saw these little kids came to the house and had an audio tape, and they would touch the thing to turn it on. It wouldn't work because they don't press on it. Why? They're not even using the intelligence they have because they've been told this is how you do it, and they stick to it, because if you don't do it that way, you flunk. You're out. You're not included. You're ridiculed. You're finished. You see, because you're not going along just to get along. So here's the thing. The big lie is, if I perceive that in others and that they're doing it, it means it's in me. None of that. Hatred is not in you, it's in the mind. You have to know the distinction. If you don't know the distinction, you can never be who you are, and you can never be liberated, and you can never take dominion, because you're giving all the power to thoughts that come and go, that are words and numbers, the past, the future, and it's all now. And in this moment of now, all is possible to you. So absolutely, if the emperor is naked, remember the story? But everybody around is, he's gorgeous in his new clothes, and he's fabulous, he's never looked better, and everybody's going, yeah. But a little kid says, he's naked. Remember Wizard of Oz? It was Toto who pulled back the curtain to show you it was just the one wizard pulling the knobs and the gnome and the button and big voice and scaring everybody to make sure everybody goes along to get along, to be exactly what everybody teaches them to be. And if you don't, you're not included. You're out. And you have to be willing to stand alone, if possible, without agreement from anybody, anywhere, because they don't know, but you know. And who you are is an eternal being. There's no better time than now. Take back your power. Obviously, if the king's naked, they're naked, and that's just the way it is. You don't need to be politically correct, gender correct, this correct, because who's making the rules? And why are they your rule maker when you are a free spirit? You are divine. You might even call you a god, because we're little god particles. We have all those qualities. Own and take back your power and establish yourself in the truth that always is, and be victorious, and you shall be, because you are. Love you.